Joining me now to discuss is America First Policy Institute's chair of the Center for Education Opportunity and founder of Optima Ed, Erika Donalds. Erika, welcome back.
Well, thanks for having me as always.
So you know what I love is when you have Randy Weingarten. She's actually having a fit. I caught the video early this morning. She's kind of like, I guess, negotiating with herself and the person who's interviewing her on whether or not the Department of Education can actually serve children and improve educational outcomes. And she said it can't anymore because half of the staff has been eliminated and children can't vote. So we have to do things for kids because they can't vote. It was discombobulated nonsense, but she was having a literal fit on TV, Erika.
Yeah, I think the exact quote was that she's spitting mad that the Department of Education, which has spent $1 trillion over the past 40 years with absolutely zero return when it comes to the academic performance of our students, is going to go away as President Trump promised the American people that it would. I was actually thrilled at this move by Secretary McMahon, only her 5th day on the job, cutting the workforce in half. It does exhibit the redundancy that we knew existed in the Department of Education. One of the examples they gave was that there were 6 strategic communications departments in the Department of Education as a whole. And sometimes there was an office manager for 5 people. So there was a lot of waste and it needed to happen. And now the dismantling will begin. Student loan portfolio to Treasury, Office of Civil Rights to Justice, and then pushing that money for Title I and special needs students down to the states and allow the states to do what Randy thinks that they should do in helping the students that she's so spitting mad about.
So I understand that's an illustration, and obviously she's trying to get people to kind of side with her and commiserate with her. But as of yet, Erika, and you've been on many times, we've talked about Optima Ed and your work with homeschoolers and so much of education where parents have had to step in. We were told years ago, decades ago, that if we just let the Department of Education and teachers work together, parents could take a step back and children would receive much better educational results. It's actually been the opposite. Parents are now fully engaged, and the reduction of this department, I look around online, I don't see a lot of people really upset that this department is being halved.
No, despite the teachers union's lies that special needs students will not receive their services and that Title I schools are not going to receive the extra funding, we know that those things are absolutely not true. People are not believing it, and they see the results for themselves. Thankfully, shows like yours and others have gotten the word out to the American public that only 3 in every 10 students in 4th grade in America read proficiently. 3 in 10. That is ridiculous. A third. I have 3 children. Can you imagine if 2 of them couldn't read, how angry I would be? That is America. America should be very angry because 2 out of every 3 students cannot read proficiently. It is a national crisis. The Department of Education has done absolutely nothing, despite the vast investment from the taxpayers, to improve the situation. We need to push this responsibility down to the states because that is where parents and voters can hold people accountable for this dismal performance. And that's where it begins, accountability at the local level.
I love that you're connecting this to some very real things that go on in our lives. We kind of look at education and then we look in our own household. Now, I remember with our kids, I actually did a little bit of research on my own, and everything that I read pointed to the fact that as a parent, I needed to take their education in hand before they ever entered the classroom. So in preschool, we did a lot of things at home. And of course, they were in preschool. So they had some, things that were going on in the classroom. But it was really talking to other moms and dads after doing research to find out what they were doing. And I became aware that in our kids' school district, every parent thought it was their responsibility to teach their child to read and to recognize numbers. And over the course of education, like all the way through grammar school, the conversations I had reflected parents feeling a need to supplement because our children were in public school, and the parents would say, this is a AAA rated district. It's an award-winning school system. But things are going to fall through the cracks, and sometimes teachers can't get to every student. So it's my responsibility to make sure my kids can read and do math on grade level. This is so important, Erika. I think a lot of parents really just trust teachers too much.
In a way, yes, which is unfortunate because we really appreciate teachers. We know that teaching is a sacrifice. No one is going to teaching for the money. A lot of that is due to teachers' unions, but that's a different conversation. Also, they're not prepared to teach children to read. You know, part of what the Department of Education has done is rate teachers. And unfortunately, we're being told that 98% of our teachers are effective or highly effective. How can that possibly be if only 3 in 10 children are reading? So the truth is that many teachers in the classroom are not prepared to be good teachers, and maybe they just aren't good at teaching. Whatever the case is, we need to better prepare them. We need to give them the tools and resources to actually teach the science of reading. This is something that everyone should go out and listen to Soul to Story podcast, learn about the science of reading. We're doing it wrong. We've been doing it wrong for decades. And we need to completely revamp it like Louisiana did, where they had incredible results on the NAEP, the one and only state that actually improved. We all need to learn from that. We have a curriculum crisis. We have a funding crisis. We have a school choice and parental rights crisis in this country. So it's got to start somewhere. And the accountability has to be at the local level where parents can actually make decisions for their children when things are not going well. As you stated, they want to be more involved, especially since COVID. We have to give them the tools to do so.
I love that you're giving out those tools right here, right now on the program, because sometimes it feels overwhelming. I know if you go on the internet and you type in, best reading program, best reading system, it kind of makes you feel like, okay, now I have 1,000 links to go through, right? And you go through and you click, and a lot of what you really want isn't on the home page. They don't say, here's our reading resource right at the top of the page. You have to scroll, you have to click,
Right.
so you're giving this information so important. The other thing that I feel like is a big step for parents is, we all know we have only so much time, right? You're running an entire center for AFPI. You have taken your role from Optima Ed. You still have that. You're a mom and a wife yourself. So you have to kind of say, I'm going to compartmentalize. And for certain times of your children's childhood, it'll be more intense than others. Speak to us a little bit about how you can recommend to parents to maybe you have to cut something out for a while to make sure your child can get these basic skill sets down.
Oh, absolutely. When your child is learning to read, especially if you are in a school that is not teaching explicit phonics, you need the book, Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. I use this with all of my children. It is basic phonetic learning. Anyone can do it. It walks you exactly what to do as a parent. Teach your child to read 100 easy lessons. Core Knowledge puts out these incredible books for every single grade level. What your child needs to know in first grade, what your child needs to know in second grade. Get one and just read a little bit to your child every day. It's not a lot of time. It's a matter of prioritizing that time over being on your phone, over making a phone call, or doing something else. It's worth it to give your child the gift of a core education that's going to help them to be successful in life if the school is not doing it for you. If you have a little more time, help us advocate for education reform and for expanded school choice at the federal and at the local level.